Playgrounds are a great place for children to have fun while getting physical exercise. It's important to help your child play safe and be aware of any potential playground safety hazards. It is estimated that more than 28,500 Canadian children are treated for playground-related injuries each year. Playground injuries are the second leading cause of hospitalization for children aged 5 to 9 years, with falls being the number one cause of playground injuries. As adults and caregivers, we need to ensure that children stay safe in the playground. Today, we're going to spend some time talking about how to ensure that our children stay safe on playgrounds. Let's start with the letter S. Can you guess what the S might stand for? If you guessed supervision, you're on track. It is important for parents and caregivers to pay close attention to the play environment. This includes the ground covering, play equipment, and the activities of the children while they're using the play equipment. We encourage parents and guardians to actively supervise children while on the playground. Active supervision is being alert and watching at a close enough distance to take action if needed. We should try to encourage children to always use the stairs when climbing onto any play equipment. Younger children should be discouraged from jumping off a swing while it is still moving and climbing up slides. These are both activities that can sometimes be seen as risky play, and we're not saying that children shouldn't do them. What we're saying is that children should only be doing them or even trying them once we know that they've mastered the skill of swinging on swings and learned the proper safety rules around being on the swings. Make sure that you check your child's clothing. We don't want there to be any drawstrings or other cords that could potentially get trapped in equipment and become choking hazards. And always encourage children to utilize the slide one person at a time. Let's move on to the letter A, age appropriateness. We can reduce the risk of injury by making sure playground equipment is not too high or too large for our children. As a general rule of thumb, if a child cannot reach the play equipment on their own, it's probably too big for them. Did you know that the CSA requires an age-appropriate label on equipment in public playgrounds? The CSA label is not always in plain sight. It's usually found on or under a piece of play equipment. I challenge you to check for this label the next time you visit the park. And in future, always check for the label before allowing children to play. This label ensures that the play structure has met the guidelines set out by the Canadian Standards Association. As I've mentioned, falls are the number one cause of playground-related injuries. Proper surfacing can reduce serious injury in the event of a fall. Here's something you might not know. Grass is not considered safe surfacing because it does not cushion falls as well as other materials. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, grass was pretty much all there was at play structures. The higher the equipment is from the ground, the deeper the surfacing should be. Playground surfacing should cover at least 6 feet in all directions from the play equipment. And as always, make sure you as a parent check for sharp or dangerous objects that may become hidden in the surfacing, such as glass, syringes, or anything else that could be a hazard. Now, when it comes to the equipment itself, Make sure a playground is safe before allowing the child or children to play on it. This can be something that you all do together. You could have a checklist of things that you're looking for to ensure that the playground is safe that you complete all together before climbing on. It is important to report unsafe conditions to the owner of the playground. Public playgrounds are often owned by school boards or municipalities. Did you know that the CSA playground standard requires public playgrounds to have a sign posted providing the contact information for the owner of the playground? I didn't know that either. So before you head out onto the playground the next time you visit, take a look around for some signage that tells you who owns the playground. Extra space is actually required at the bottom of slides and around swings, which might be something to keep an eye out for. Make sure that your child's head cannot get trapped in the spaces of the equipment itself. All spaces should be smaller than 9 centimeters and larger than 23 centimeters. Look for ramps and guardrails around platform structures. Those would be put in place to help prevent falls. Again, watch for sharp points or edges on equipment that could catch on clothing. And don't let your children attach skipping ropes or pet leashes or anything else like that to play equipment, because these items could be a tripping or choking hazard. If you've brought your 4-legged furry friend with you and you're needing to tie his leash off somewhere, perhaps look at a tree or even at the park bench. Also, super important, be mindful of how weather could affect play equipment. Rain can make some play equipment slippery, and heat from the sun can make certain playground equipment extremely hot to the touch. Now, if the playground that you're visiting has a sandbox, it should be located off to the side of any playground equipment. And there should be a minimum sand depth of 2 centimeters. A good sand depth is about 4.5 centimeters. But again, if you're allowing your children to play in a public sandbox, you also want to be aware of things like animal feces, sharp objects, glass, syringes, anything else like that. With everything we've just heard about, let's take a look at this picture together and decide whether we think that this is safe or unsafe. The obvious thing that jumps out to me is the fact that underneath this play structure is grass, which means that if a child was to fall from anywhere on this play structure, the odds of them being seriously injured would be much greater here than they would be at a play structure with a softer surface covering. I noticed the railings that are there across the bridge for children to be able to hang onto, which is definitely a positive. Did you see anything else? Now let's take a look at this play structure. Is this somewhere that you could see your 2-year-old playing? Does it look like there's soft surface covering at this play structure? And if so, does it cover a 6-foot fall radius around the play structure? Is there anywhere on this play structure you would be concerned about your child potentially getting their head stuck? Let's go through our SAFE acronym. Are you able to identify spots on this particular play area where you would be able to provide supervision for your child? Who do you think this play structure is most age appropriate for? Are you able to identify from this picture whether or not the playground surfacing would pass the CSA guidelines. And from the picture, is there anywhere on this playground you would be concerned about potential sharp edges? We hope you found this month's video on playground safety both interesting and informative. Until next month, Ona!